The value of small beginnings. Everything starts small with humble beginnings. The person who starts with 10 cents and has the discipline to double it, the vision to grow, and the focus on multiplication can achieve heights that no one else can reach. The secret lies in trusting the process, understanding the power of exponentiality, and never giving up before seeing results. Stop thinking small. The universe was created to operate on exponential growth, and you were designed to be part of it. The case for unlimited growth. In 2016, the global GDP was $275 trillion. Imagine if someone applied the concept of exponentiality throughout their entire life. Even the world wouldn't have enough money to pay that person's salary after years of doubling. We'd need to negotiate African diamonds, Venezuela's oil reserves, and still fall short. Why has no one in history surpassed $1 trillion in personal wealth? It's simple. No one lives beyond 120 years. Time limits the capacity to accumulate exponentially. The wealth of Solomon, a timeless example. Solomon, over 3,000 years ago, is still considered the richest man who ever lived. The Bible doesn't hide the details of his wealth. In the books of Kings and Chronicles, you'll find precise descriptions of his opulence. Gold shields, chariots, masses of silver and gold, all accounted for in numbers. For Christians who criticize wealth, it's worth remembering that the Bible doesn't demonize prosperity. If it did, it wouldn't detail Solomon's riches or speak of streets of gold in the New Jerusalem. Some may argue, oh, that's prosperity theology. Call it what you will, but I don't follow poverty theology. That mindset has no place in my vision. Faith and abundance. I grew up hearing my mother say, a little with God is much. And that's true, because God carries the power of multiplication. But a little without God is simply misery. Many people use popular sayings or out-of-context Bible verses to limit their own capacity. They say, it's not God's time. But is that true? Or is it just an excuse for inaction? Imagine a child receiving a car, but unable to drive it because they can't reach the pedals. God has already given you what's yours, but maybe you need to grow to use it. It's not that it's not God's time, it's that you're not yet prepared for what He's already made available. Breaking generational limitations. If your family has spent their lives believing in limitations, ask yourself, have they prospered with that mindset? If not, it's time to rethink. Growing in faith doesn't mean clinging to scarcity. It means understanding that God is a God of abundance. The rise of faith and prosperity. Until the 1990s, evangelical faith in Brazil was often associated with poverty and suffering. Being a believer was almost seen as a social curse. But over the last 30 years, something changed. With the explosion of gospel music and the rise of great leaders who began speaking of God in an inspiring way, the message reached new audiences. Industrialists, entrepreneurs, artists, even Hollywood actors. This transformation proves a simple truth. When faith aligns with exponentiality, it has the power to reshape lives, industries, and even entire cultures. Prosperity is about growth, not misery. The idea that one must live in poverty to enter heaven no longer makes sense. God is generous and desires that we prosper in all areas, not just spiritually. Prosperity isn't just about money. It's about growth, multiplication, and living in fullness. It's time to leave behind the scarcity mindset and embrace the potential God has placed in you. He is the God who multiplies, the God of Solomon. And He is the same God who wants to see you prosper, not just for your own sake, but so that you can be a blessing in the lives of others. What is true poverty? Many misunderstand poverty as merely a social status. It's not. At its root, poverty means unproductivity, the inability to create, multiply, and prosper. What happens then? We use our own beliefs, even our faith, to justify this unproductivity. How many times have you heard someone use a Bible verse to limit their life? For example, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This doesn't mean you can buy a yacht or achieve whatever you want without effort. It means you can face any situation, joy or sorrow, mountaintop or valley, because God gives you strength. The problem is that many choose to ignore reality. They pretend evil doesn't exist, that challenges don't exist. But ignorance is just the distance between you and what's real. Why don't people prosper? The answer is simple. Because they don't know who they are. They don't understand the potential they carry, the strength within them, or the universal laws that have been tested and proven throughout history. Recently, someone told me they were at rock bottom, with a debt of 1 million reais. After applying simple principles, they paid off their debts, restarted their life and are now completely transformed. This is possible, but it doesn't happen overnight. The truth about beginnings. Every beginning is hard. If you can't overcome small challenges, like taking a cold shower or waking up early, how do you expect to conquer bigger ones? When I tell you to wake up early for 3 consecutive days, it's to build discipline. Those who can't face small battles will never be prepared for larger ones. You won't prosper just by listening to a motivational talk or hearing inspiring words.